Hello and welcome to the Lorna Marie Fitness Podcast, the show where we talk all things fitness, health, mindset and lifestyle to help you become fitter, healthier and happier. I help busy people who lack time, motivation and self-belief to look and feel great again. If you want to work with me, head over to lornamariefitness.co.uk, but for now, enjoy this episode.
Brand new year and new beginnings. I think this is always a really important time now to look back at this last year. And one way I do it, like a really easy way, is I kind of have a bit of a running plan of what we do at Lawn Marie Fitness. But in general and in life, it's just literally looking through the camera roll and seeing everything that you've done this year. And I think sometimes if you don't do that and you don't actually look back and reflect, we never really appreciate the small moments. Because let's face it, life is really challenging. Like, we've all had our own challenges this year. Like, speaking for myself as well, 2024 has probably been maybe the or one of the hardest years of my whole life. And it's been a year of so many things like loss versus success versus healing versus growth, like so many things. And it's been a year of challenges, but then without challenge, we don't get change. But also, I think it's really important to actually look back and reflect on all the really good things and the great things that happened during the year. Otherwise, you can leave the year with a bit of a bad taste in your mouth and not actually ever looking back and thinking, wow, do you know what? I'm really proud of myself for doing that, or I'm really proud of myself. It might even be for just getting through this year when it was so difficult. Well done, me. And I'm really proud now that I'm going into the new year thinking, right, fresh beginning. What am I going to go into the new year taking with me, and what am I going to leave behind in the new year? And I think that's really important. Now, we're starting the new year with a January focus. There's 3 different groups, so do make sure you join the group that is relevant for you. This is to keep you accountable. Like, everyone knows what they roughly need to be doing, right? And this is where the difference comes in with being part of Lorna's online squad. And that is having the accountability and the community there. So one that is going to lift you up and support you and motivate you. One where you can ask questions when you really need the answers. One where if you're just really struggling, you just can't seem to do it, you'll have somebody there who's like, yeah, I get you. This is what you need to do. Come with me. And this is what it's all about, being part of a community. And I think ours in particular is just so special, so friendly, supportive and inspirational from so many different ways, in so many different ways. It really truly is. And every time I go away, this is personally speaking, every time I go away and I take some time off from the squad, one, I get loads of ideas. No, well, loads of ideas. One, I get loads of ideas, but 2, I get this sense of something is missing, like really badly. I know for me it's easy to say because, you know, I run Lorna's online squad and I never really take time out. Like, I don't. I have a volume switch that I might turn down slightly, but I'm always present. I'm always there, even when I've got quote unquote time off. And for those who know me know that very well. And I'm happy being that way, by the way. I found that that's right for me. But I really feel like there's a huge part of me missing, and I could not imagine my life without my amazing squaddies. So here is to a fantastic 2025. And team, together, we will go far. Together, we will go places. You will be able to smash your goals, and don't forget to always reach out whenever you're struggling, because that is the difference. If you're struggling, if you're finding that you're stagnating or you're struggling for motivation or something just isn't right, isn't clicking, you've got so many people to ask, including me, who's going to be there to support you. So the worst thing you can do is be silent, right? So just make sure that you are there, you're present, and join one of those January groups. Unless you're on our 6-week course right now, I feel like you might have enough to focus on right now. But of course you can if you want to too. Anyway, let's move on with the Q&A because I don't want to spend too long on the intro, but I thought that was important. And yeah, I just think it's really important to reflect. Otherwise, we're always thinking about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So what's one thing that you've done this year that you're really proud of? And what's something that you're leaving behind? And what's something you're going into next year with? Okay, 3 questions for you to think about today. Let's dive into the Q&A. Now, we've got quite a few questions, and I don't want this to last forever because I want to keep your attention. No, I don't want you to get bored, but I'm going to be short and concise with them, okay? So, question number one. What exercises would you recommend for menstrual cramps? I struggle with extreme period pain and try to steer clear of painkillers as much as possible to try and cope with the heat and stretching. Okay, so I would say, first and foremost, take it day by day because it really, really can feel some days unmanageable and other days not as bad. So if you've planned in a workout to say do, I don't know, an intense cardio or a combat and you're just in pain and your body is just not happy, then a really nice, gentle, restorative class would be perfect. I would say if you go onto the holistic area and go onto yoga, there's some beautiful stretches in there, or even stretch. If you do the pre-bedtime ones, they're really lovely and gentle, or you can type in chill or relax or even restorative, and there's some beautiful stretches in there. In fact, there's a really nice restorative one on the rooftop in Greece, and that will have some beautiful stretches in. But things just in general, you want to be thinking about stretching out the hips, the lower back kind of area here. So I would say things like a child's pose, things like lying on your back and doing a few pelvic tilts, the cat and cow pose where you're on all fours. So you dip the spine down and then you round the spine up again. You could also lie on your back, draw your knees in towards your chest, and then do a few circles going one way and a few circles going the other way. So it's a really nice, it's kind of like a bit of a massage for your lower back, but just encouraging a little bit of blood flow. They can be really lovely. Other things might be, say, lying on your back and doing a butterfly, or you could even do a seated butterfly, just opening up the hips. So if you lie on your back, bend your knees, put the soles of the feet together. So your knees are dropping out to the outside. You can take your arms overhead. I really love this pose. It just feels so nice on the hips and just really open. And hold on to your forearms or your elbows. All of these, all of these moves we do in Yogascape. So it might even be a case of doing some regular Yogascape and thinking, okay, like which ones feel really nice on my back and my hips here. But then in general, you can, yeah, do those ones, or just type in, like I said, restorative chill or relax into on demand, or even back and hips into on demand, and we've got some of those stretches. Alternatively, you can try things like, a hot water bottle, so a little bit of heat therapy, a really nice gentle walk, so a short gentle walk and get some fresh air. That can also feel nice. But hopefully they will help a lot to reduce any discomfort and pain. Number two, I need ankle strengthening. I'm slip-sliding on the mud for 55 miles, meaning I've got achy ankles today. Oh my goodness me. 55 miles. I know who this is. So, obviously, when you've done something like endurance and it's been something really, really intense, your body needs to rest and recover. So, that would be first and foremost, rest and recover those ankles. Give them time, give them space. And that will really help to prevent any injury and help them rebuild so they do actually get stronger in the first place. Now, just some really simple exercises that you can do. You could do some calf raises. So when you're on the balls of your feet and you lift and lower, you can do that on a step. So you can be dropping your heel off the step. I would say if you're going to do that and you're using your stairs, please use the bottom step, of course. And do any of these exercises sensibly. And of course, disclaimer, it's not my fault if you hurt yourself. But yeah, on a serious note, you could do that. You could also hold some hand weights. Probably do that one on the floor if you're holding some hand weights, rising and lowering down. Then you could also use a resistance band. So you could use a resistance band for dorsiflexion, so that means pulling your toes towards your shins, or plantar flexion, which is pointing your toes downwards. So you could use a resistance band there. Same for moving your foot laterally, so side to side. Another one you could do is using a chair leg. Just be careful on how hard you do this though. If you have a chair leg or a table, you can push your foot into it and then do the reverse. Just do that a few times, just hold for a few seconds and then switch. Then aside from that, I would recommend doing things like single leg balances and single leg exercises, like single leg squats, but really, really focusing in on Yogascape. So the fourth track is always balance. And we do some, well, I say fourth track, sometimes it might be the third track. But anyway, those exercises are really, really good to do. Or you could even do it yourself. Just balance on one leg for 30 seconds. You can maybe do a bit of a squat and then switch sides. But they will be really helpful. And that is going to be helpful for you if you're on unstable ground. So that's where I would begin. So you've got those exercises there, the heel raises, um, making sure that you've rested, of course, and then using a resistance band, maybe pushing into a chair leg or a table leg, or even you could even use a wall. And then finally doing the single leg exercises. But I hope that helps. And just in general, if you're walking that far, just keep up with all your strength exercises. How do you manage to eat healthily when you're so busy and you haven't had time to plan? Oh, do you know what? This happens to us all. It happens all the time to me. I am so terrible for my meal planning, but that doesn't mean that I don't eat healthily. Ideally, the best way to do it is have like a bit of a set time or set day where you do a meal plan. So like on a Sunday, for example, Sunday morning, just setting aside a bit of time to think about, okay, what are the meals for the week? And as soon as you get into a bit of a flow with this, like generally as human beings, we tend to eat really similar meals, right, throughout the weeks. It's not like we change it wildly every day. You tend to have like your set meals, don't you? So as soon as you get into a groove with this, it will become easier. But you could just, for example, make a whole tray of roasted vegetables. You could cook loads of quinoa or rice or pasta. You could pre-cook things like chicken, or you could even get things like tin tuna that's already there, already ready, so that when it does come to making a meal, you've got things that you can put together. So your protein source, your carbohydrate source, you could even get some pre-cut and washed salads or veggies. My mum actually hates that, but I personally, I use those. I just find it easier. Also, I really like using, if I'm short on time, you know, the little microwavable bags of frozen veggies, whack it in the microwave 30 seconds. It might be a bit longer than 30 seconds, actually. No, I think I do 30 seconds and I turn it and then I do another 30 seconds. Yeah, that's what I do. Anyway, that's so easy and so healthy. There's your veggies. And they actually taste really good. So there's loads of things that you can do to prep. Another thing you can do is when you are cooking, batch cook. So make sure that you are cooking in bulk and then you just freeze things for later. Or you could say cook a really big portion, use that for lunch the next day and then lunch the day after, or dinner the next day if you don't mind eating like the same meal. Then it's just about making smart choices with what you've got, like what you've got and what you've got in, and make it easy for yourself. Like get healthy, easy stuff in. Get, like I said, the frozen bags of vegetables. Get some pre-washed salad in if that's going to help you. Get some tins of tuna. Get some eggs in. Things that are going to be really healthy and quick to do. If you don't have time to set the time aside to do all your meal plan and meal prep, make it easy for yourself and get easy things in. I would also say that with your snacks. So smart snacking. It doesn't have to be hard or take ages to eat healthily. For example, have nuts in, have Greek yogurt in, have pre-cut veggies in if you don't want to like slice a carrot, for example, and have hummus. Take fruit in your bag and have that at work as well on your desk. If you are somebody who has the biscuits out or the chocolate out or the popcorn out or the pastries out and they're there on show or they're really, really easy, like at the front of your cupboard, you're not making it easy for yourself. Just make it so easy for yourself and have things out around you that are healthy. And just, yeah, make sure you're making smart choices with what you have available. Like, even if, say, for example, you're going out to buy a meal deal, well, look at the meal deals. Like, what good choice can you make out of that? You know, sandwich. Let's start with our lean protein. Okay, great. There's a chicken salad sandwich. Fantastic. Then what about the snack? You know, you've got the choice between, say, like a yogurt pot, some fruit, or the chocolate bar or the crisps. Right, well, where can I make a smart choice there? Just make a smart choice. So it's making smart choices with what you've got and thinking about how you want to feel as well, how you want to feel afterwards. And that's what I would do. Next, I really want to get into the splits in 2025. My hip flexibility is good, but it's my hamstrings that are tight. What would you suggest I need to focus on? Okay, so yeah, I would have said like hips, of course, hips and back. But if they're already fine and your hamstrings are tight, I would suggest you need to be doing yoga. Lots of downward facing dogs, 100%. And actually just practicing the splits as well. Like actually doing the splits will help you get into the splits, and make sure you set that time aside to do it at least 4 or 5 times a week, just a few minutes, holding it. But just in general, like you've got your hamstring stretches, you've got seated forward folds, so where you sit down and your legs are out in front of you, and then you lean forwards. You could do the pigeon pose as well. If you're not sure on any of these, just message me and ask me, by the way. And loads of different types of lunges, like low lunges, runner's lunge, and things that we do in yoga and yogascape. So that is what I would recommend. So downward facing dogs, you've got your seated and your standing forward folds. Actually just doing, like practicing, getting into the splits at least absolute minimum 4 times a week. If that's going to be your goal, it needs to be, set time aside every day, get up 5 minutes earlier and just do it. Then pigeon pose and lunges. That's what I'd focus on. But I think that's a great aim, by the way. Okay, when the wheels fall off, life is overwhelming and you feel like you've lost your way, you need to take it one step at a time to get back into the fold of the Squaddies momentum. Which of the core 4 do you prioritize first? I personally, if I had to choose one to prioritize first, I would choose movement, because it feels good to move your body. It is energizing to move the body. And when we exercise, whatever that might look like, whether that's doing something holistic, some cardio, or some strength work, whenever we exercise, we feel good. It just sets off those feel good endorphins. So we feel good, and that makes us want to make better choices with our food. It also helps us sleep better. And we'll also want to drink water because we'll be thirstier from doing it. But that is the one that I would prioritize first. And I would say that if you feel at times that life is overwhelming and you haven't been focusing on you, your health, then that makes you a human. And it isn't about those odd occasions where we go off track or the odd weeks where we go off track. It's about how we react to those. So what are we doing after? Are we then spiraling like, oh, I just can't do this. Oh, I'll start next week. Or, you know what, maybe next year will be my year. Or I'm just not feeling motivated right now. I'm not in the right mindset. So when I get into the right mindset, honestly, I've heard it all, gang. But the actual best thing to do is think, okay, this is where I'm at right now. This is the reality. I've got 2 choices. I stay here and probably potentially spiral downwards, or I just literally draw a line, say, I am a human, and that is okay. What I'm going to do is take one step at a time, exactly as you've said here, and just think about doing one thing, and I would start with the movement. What is the best way to burn Christmas food calories and get back on track? Okay, so what I would say here is, so for me, this question is, I could tackle this in so many different ways. I guess quite a loaded question. I would say the best thing to get back on track after Christmas is to draw a line, and don't worry about what has and hasn't already happened, and just think about all the incredible memories you made and all the fantastic food you ate and all the wine you drank, and it was just so lovely and yummy and great. And now we think about moving on. So we draw a line. We only look back to think about, oh, that was really great. I had some really nice food, I made some really lovely memories, and now it's time just to get back on track and back to normal. And that's the best thing to do, just get back to quote unquote normal. Because a lot of people tend to either kind of stay in this mindset and think, oh, I feel rubbish, so what the hell, let's just carry on, to an extent. Some people think, right, I need to do something absolutely drastic, like what can I do? And look for some sort of quick fix, which actually then ends up being a long fix. Because anything that promises you a really quick fix is promising you something drastic that isn't going to serve you in the long run. And that's not what we want, because it ends up being a long fix. Because then as soon as you come off it, or like say if it's like an 8 week shred or something crazy, or a 6 week shred or whatever it might be, as soon as you come off that, it hasn't taught you how to maintain this lifestyle. And sometimes it's unsustainable in the first place anyway. So you can't do it. And then you're looking for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And the whole time you could have just been nourishing the body, enjoying your life, enjoying the journey, and moving to feel good and to work on you. And the second part, the second way I want to answer this is to burn Christmas food. Now, we don't exercise to burn calories. Like the amount of calories you actually burn from exercise is really quite minimal. And that doesn't mean that it's not worth doing at all. We exercise to improve the quality of our life. Without movement, like want to move, without movement, we we're not going to live fulfilled lives. Let me be honest with you. We'll get ill quicker. Our bones won't be as strong as they should or could be. We won't have that muscular tone that will help us walk, that will help us do all the things that we want to do. Like even, for example, going on holiday, like going away on holiday, you know, when you, depending on what holiday you go on, but you want to book trips and they have like an activity rating. Like you might have to get up and down some stairs to see this amazing monument, or you might have to be able to walk up a volcano or a hill to get to the top. You might be thinking, oh, yeah, but I don't want to do that, Lorna. It doesn't matter. What if you want to run around with your grandkids? What if you want to be able to lift them up and swing them around your head? And what if you want to be able to run around the field with your kids in the summertime? Like, what if you want to do those things? Like, that's quality of life, right? And also, you want to be able to do those things and you want to be able to feel good in you. Like, do it for you. Do it so you feel good. So you wake up in the morning, you feel energized. You go up the stairs and you don't feel like you're out of breath. Do it for you so you live a good quality of life. So that's why we exercise, for our heart health, for our lung health, to feel good, to feel energized, to live a good quality of life, for our muscular tone. So we look good, we look shapely, and for our bone density. This is why we exercise. In terms of like the burning calorie side, so say if you're on a fat loss journey and you want to lose a bit of weight, you want to do that through your food. So you want to make small tweaks to your food. And that doesn't mean doing anything drastic, it just means getting back on track. So just drawing that line and eating well and moving to feel good. So making sure that you're planning those workouts in your journal, you're showing up for you so you can maintain your health, and then we can tackle the weight loss with the food side of things just by making small tweaks. What are the best exercises for improved posture to avoid being round shouldered? I tend to go the opposite, i.e., pulling the shoulders back, but then causing a dip in my back. So, what short phrase can I use to keep focus on my posture? Okay, that's quite common. So, if you're thinking about really pulling your shoulders back and then that's making your spine go into like a bit of an extension shape, that will give you a bit of a dip in your back, yes. So, what you want to think is open chest, drawing the shoulder blades together or slide them down into the opposite back pockets. You can think of that. But at the same time as doing that, we don't want to be flaring the rib cage. So you want to think ribs over hips. So if you think your shoulders, your rib cage, and your hips, and basically your knee joint, ankles are all pretty much in a line. So that is what you want to think of here. You can do little shoulder blade squeezes, so protraction, retraction, without flaring the rib cage again. So it's a case of having those little moments of resetting. So throughout the day, you could just think, okay, right, open chest, shoulders, opposite back pockets, rib cage, not flared, tucked in, shoulders, ribs, hips, in line. And just have those little moments where you kind of reset a little bit. But for improved posture in general, things that you want to be focusing on are strengthening your upper back, your shoulders, and then your core as well. Stronger is going to be really great for that. You know, we're doing things like chest openers, we do things like rows and flies. Planks and side planks are really, really great for this kind of thing. And then Pilates for your overall posture as well is really, really, really great. But just in general, whenever you are, say, standing still or you are sat, or you could even have an alarm in your phone to start off with to remind yourself. Just be mindful about how you're actually sitting, and then be mindful about how you're moving as well. Shoulders back, chin neutral, chest up, rib cage, not necessarily concave in, but not flared. And you can always take a photo. You can always take a photo of what you look like and have a little look. Okay. Are there any particular exercises to get rid of a double chin? Now, with the chin, it's one of those things. It's called spot reduction, so fat spot reduction, and we can't choose where we lose fat or skin in our bodies. Like, our body's going to do that for us, and on a weight loss journey, that might be the last place that it goes off, but it will. So basically, continue with your fat loss journey, and keep doing a mixture of cardio exercise and keep doing strength training. So it's all about building up your muscular ratio and reducing the fat to muscle ratio in your body overall. So this is what I would try and do. You can do things like chin lifts and jawline exercises, but I'm not entirely convinced by these. I mean, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I'm not entirely convinced by these. I would just say really, really focus on improving your muscular tone. So strength exercises, make sure you get enough protein in there, continue on your fat loss journey, and over time your body composition is going to be completely changing. And if you do find that you get to a healthy weight where you're maintaining and there's quite a lot of excess skin there, it might be something that you want to go and speak to somebody about. So speaking to a medical professional about if it's something that you feel conscious about and does really bother you. How slow should you take it when coming back to exercise after illness? And is it best to avoid cardio after a respiratory infection that required steroids? Okay, so I have spoken to this particular squaddie, and my recommendation is speak to a medical professional. Of course, like, you need the green light from your GP. As generally speaking, if you have had like quite a chesty sort of illness, avoiding any intense cardio is probably advisable to start off with, and just really, really taking your time. So maybe even starting off with getting back into routine with your 3 classes a week, but starting off with a stretch and something more restorative, and then maybe building it up to something like power walking for cardio. And you can also build it up in terms of like the class you do, the intensity that you put in, so the effort that you put in, and then also the duration. So you might start off with 7-minute power walk, and then you might think, okay, next week I'm going to go to like a 15-minute one, and then the following week I'm going to build it up and I'm going to do a 20-minute power walk. So doing it like that. And of course, if you're feeling like you're just not feeling right, or any breathlessness, you know your body best, then the great thing about online is you can press pause, you can stop, or you can switch and do something else. But just taking it bit by bit. There's no real right or wrong, but I would say the best thing to do is maybe just get those workouts back in and start with something like a stretch or like a core, and then start to eventually swap them out to put a little bit more cardio in there, just bit by bit. Any recommendations for reducing cortisol levels? I feel like mine are sky high. During Yogascape, I had an overwhelming crying reaction, and does this happen to others? And just a thank you for not giving up on me when I really want to give up on myself. Oh, I'll never give up on you. I'll never give up on any of my squaddies. No, I love you all. Yes, just a question about Yogascape. It does happen. It happens a lot, and I actually hear my other instructors. So, if you don't know, Yogascape is originally a Squaddie class, so it's ours. We trademarked it, and now we've got instructors teaching it all around the world. So, yeah, look after my lovely Yogascape instructors as well. And yes, they found this too. And I think a lot of it is, if you are somebody who is so busy and so completely and utterly overwhelmed, and you've been putting yourself last, or you've been in fight flight mode for so long, and you've just been running on pretty much adrenaline and stress, having this space and doing something for you, it's like the ultimate release. That's really, really what it feels like. It feels like you have, this is my take on it anyway. It feels like you've actually done something for you that you really, really needed, like body and spiritually, just really, really needed. And yoga escape is fantastic for people who really do feel busy and feel overwhelmed and struggle to slow down. The particular energy flow of yoga escape that I've designed is to do that. So to capture you in your kind of busy space and to pull you back and make you kind of take a step back, because it's really, really important to do. So yes, and I think really that was your body and your mind saying thank you and just being grateful for having that moment, just that release that you needed. In terms of reducing cortisol levels, yes, there's so many things that you can do to reduce your cortisol levels. I would say what you really want to do is make sure that you're doing things like yoga escape regularly in your weekly routine. If it's not something that you currently make time for, it's something that I would absolutely recommend you do make time for. Sometimes when our stress levels are already so high, doing something intense on top of that is just basically like stacking stress on top of stress. Sometimes what we actually need when we're feeling like we are really stressed or really overwhelmed is something to make us just take a step back a little bit. So I would say making sure that you're doing, some regular yoga or yoga escape, doing things like meditation. So we've even got like beginner's meditation on demand and deep breathing. So if you type breath in and meditation to on demand, they come up, and just give them a go. Aside from that, it's going to take some time, okay? So make sure you're doing that at least 2-3 times a week, even if it's like a couple of yogas or a yoga escape and then a breathwork or a meditation to start off with. They could just be short. Just create that space. Make sure you're consistently showing up for you. And this is why at Lorna's Online Squad, we do the workouts first thing in the day. So to hopefully catch to catch you in that little pocket, that little pocket of space for you, that time for you to do your workout regularly before the day and anything else runs away with you. Or you just make it work for you. Find your little pocket. It's so important. You need that. It's your time. Fill up your cup. You need that little moment. So doing that for you, making sure you're showing up consistently with your workouts, making sure you're getting enough sleep. Sleep is so important. And a balanced diet, all of these will keep your cortisol levels in check. And if you're feeling like a sense of overwhelm as well, maybe other things that you could do, like journaling, or I love to do brain dumps. So anything that's on my mind, like in the day, I just write it down somewhere, and then it's out of my head, it's on paper, and then I can deal with it when I'm ready. But it clears the mind. So that's what I would do. But just regularly show up for you, eat the best you can, and let's get some good sleep in there as well. Are there many health benefits to skipping? Are there as many health benefits to skipping as social media tells us? I'm thinking of ordering a skipping rope to keep in my office. I mean, each to their own. Skipping is a great cardio exercise, and it's also really good for like improving your coordination. So yeah, if you want to, like, go for it. It's whatever exercise you enjoy and whatever makes you feel good is great. But essentially, skipping it's a cardiovascular exercise, so it's good for the cardio. And if you really love it, and if that's your thing, then great, go for it. It's what the most important thing you can do is, well, I think first, obviously, like, do variety, strength, cardio, and holistic. If you want good health, good all-round health, this is what you need to do. But then also just do the things that you enjoy, because you'll make sure that you do them and they won't feel like a chore. So that's really important. What ratio of strength training, cardio, and stretch do you recommend? And how can I boost my immunity? I mean, it depends on how much time you have and what your goals are. So if your goal is fat loss, I would be prioritizing making sure you're getting that strength training in there, and manipulating the fat loss, like I said before, with tweaking your food. because you want to keep that muscular tone, as much muscular tone as possible. One, so that you look fabulous. And number two, because it's really important for your bones and it's also important for your metabolism. It's important for keeping us strong and having a good quality of life. So this is what I would prioritize. So I would be having like a minimum 2 in there, 2 to 3 times a week, but minimum 2 strength training. So that's like if you just go onto the strength section and on demand, like anything in there basically. Cardio, I would be doing that. I mean, ideally, you'd be getting some steps in anyway, but like more intense bursts. It depends on how much time you've got. But let's say you're doing 4 workouts a week here. You could do 1 cardio and then 1 holistic. But if you follow either the 6 o'clocks or the 6:30 a.m.s, so you do them live or you do them on demand, I will make sure that you cover all bases. So all you have to do is show up. I've already done all the hard work for you. I've done the thinking for you. Or you could do both of them. You could do the 6 and the 6:30. I make sure that whether you follow one of them, so whether you follow the 6s or you follow the 6:30s or you decide to do the double, I've got you covered completely. So as long as you do that, you'll be fine. So 20 minutes every day with me, I'll make sure that you've covered strength, cardio, and your flexibility, mobility as well. And as well, like if you're somebody who is really, really stressed out at the moment and really overwhelmed, your main goal might be to do more holistic because that's going to help to bring your cortisol levels down. So it really depends on kind of like what chapter you are in your life, like where you are at the moment. Now, in terms of boosting your immunity, the best things you can absolutely do is one, sleep, making sure that where you can, and I know the person who asked me this is tricky with little ones, but where you can get in good quality of sleep. So making sure that even if you're not getting as many hours as you'd like, that sleep is as deep as it could be. So making sure that, you haven't had a huge meal just before you go to bed. You are regularly exercising so that when you hit the pillow, bang, you're gone. Making sure that your room is cool and it is dark so that when you do go to sleep, it is really restful. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is going to be your diet. So making sure that you are thinking, fuel your body and nourish your body, give it what it needs. Give your body what it needs. So that is going to be your vitamins and minerals from your fruits and veggies. Think, eat the rainbow, and you can't go too far wrong. Your fibrous carbohydrates, think of the stuff that's grown from the ground. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, fibrous carbohydrates. If you're going to, have pasta or rice, have your whole wheat varieties where you can if you enjoy them. Again, if you don't, it's not the end of the world, but just be thinking fibrous carbohydrates and having a good variety there. The less processed stuff, the better. And then your lean proteins, your chicken, your tofu, your fish, having your proteins in there and some healthy fats. So, your fish like salmon or mackerel, get your omega-3s in there. Just think really balanced. So when you approach your meal, whether that's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, think, okay, where's my protein source on this plate? Where's the vitamin mineral source, like the fruit and veggies? Where is that right now? Where's the healthy fats? And where are the fibrous carbohydrates? You think like that and think, what can I put into my body? And make sure you're getting a variety. You really can't go far wrong. But things like zinc, vitamin C, iron, your B vitamins, making sure that you're getting those in. And if that feels like, oh my gosh, where do I start? Just make sure you get a variety, eat the rainbow. And that is what I would do. And then making sure that you are showing up regularly for you, doing your exercise. If you focus on the core 4, you can't go too far wrong with boosting your immunity. I'm looking for low impact exercise. Where should I start with that? So with low impact exercise, all of our workouts have low impact options. You can make any workout we do low impact. So low impact means without the jumping. I always give non-jumping option. So you can always go for that. But in terms of the like strictly low impact exercise, so where we don't even do like a high impact option, for your high intensity stuff, you've got Sculpt. So that is high intensity, low impact. You've got things like Stronger, that is using your weights. Booty band, we don't normally jump in that. We do sometimes, but that one. Pilates, yoga, Yogascape, stretch and core. They're your ones. Oh, and power walking, and then anything like aerobics or combat, you can just take the jumping out of those ones. A question for the Q&A, if I'm not too late. I am traveling a lot in January for work and pleasure. I really struggle to lying down exercises on cold, hard tiled floors. I found stretching and obviously cardio classes at work. However, what standing up abs and core exercises and strength exercises could you recommend? Which mean you don't have to lie or kneel on the floor. So you could still do stronger in terms of a strength class, and then instead of lying on the floor for the chest track, you could actually do like push-ups against the wall or something like that. Just follow the same timing. So that could be one option with stronger. And actually, if you go onto on demand and type standing in, there's quite a few different ones on there as well. So we've got like a standing stretch, standing energizer. We've also got desk abs. So if you're traveling with work, there always tends to be like a desk in the room, right, and a table. So just, yeah, you grab those. The desk workouts would be really, really valuable here. So any of the desk workout abs. In fact, the whole desk workout series might be a really, really good one just to follow in general if you don't want to do any lying down stuff, because it's basically all seated or standing. So I would definitely have a look at that area for sure. And any of the others, like I said, with the stronger, so you could just adapt those ones. And then upper body strength and lower body strength tend to be more standing stuff as opposed to lying down. So that is where I would begin with that one. And finally, what stretches would you recommend to target tightness in the lower back? I stretch most days, but I'm finding tightness in that area lately. Any advice on specific stretches to ease this would be much appreciated. Okay, so anything twisting, really. So lie on your back, bring your knees into a tabletop position and drop them over to one side. So supine twist. And then the other side as well. Anything like twisting like that is really, really nice for your lower back. You could do a thread the needle where you go into child's pose and then thread your arm underneath. But if you go onto on demand and type back in, loads of really beautiful back stretches come up, and then they will stretch out that area too. Another thing you can do is get a tennis ball and kind of roll it out in the lower back. Be having a look at how you're lying in bed. Like, is it on one particular side, and do you always sleep on one side? Have a look at the chair you're sat in. How are you sitting when you're sitting down as well, and how long are you sitting down for? So have a look at that. And also, do you have tight hamstrings or tight hips? Because sometimes it isn't always tightness in the back that is the problem. It's something else pulling on the back that is the problem, like the hamstrings or the hips that are putting the pelvis kind of out of alignment and then pulling the back. So it might be worthwhile just having a look at those as well. So doing some hip stretches, doing some hamstring stretches, and seeing how that actually feels. Like, does it feel tight? And then I would say, if it does, just make sure that you're doing regular stretches for this area. I know I keep saying it, but Yogascape, like the last few tracks, hips, twists, hamstrings, would be perfect for that, just releasing it off. But anything else you can find on the on-demand section as well. But just get into a really regular routine of doing that and releasing them off, and that should really, really help too. Okay, gang, that is all. That was a big Q&A because we didn't have one last week with it being Christmas, but I hope that has been useful, and I wish you a fantastic, fantastic 2025. Let's do this, team, and make sure that you join your focus group, and let's go into 2025 with a plan. Here we go. Let's do it.